As you become older, you realize that living a tranquil life is the ultimate luxury size. However, peace is a treasure that must be repeatedly acquired for those who are wedded to the crown. The price of such peace has abruptly increased in the corridors of the British monarchy. A period of expert cleaning has been started by King Charles and Queen Camilla. The message is as frigid as it is obvious. Family dinners and personal history are no longer a defense against the institution's demands. The monarchy now serves as a brand that demands complete purity. Everyone who is considered a toxic asset is being pushed far into the background. Sarah Ferguson is currently dealing with this silent tragedy. She has been performing an impossible balancing act for decades. While attempting to provide a future for her daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, she continued to be the devoted shadow of the disgraced Prince Andrew. She put herself in a loyalty trap. She unintentionally starts to undermine the people she loves in her attempt to stabilize her ex-husband. She has made herself a prime candidate for reform by remaining in the company of a man whose reputation has been damaged. The new order at the palace is the source of the greatest pain. As two women who weathered public storms together, Sarah and Camilla once had a close relationship. She is now marginalized by the jagged edge of institutional responsibility. The Queen believes that this distance is necessary for the monarchy. It's a wound that won't go away for Sarah. She is alone and looking for a way out that the Royal Lodge is no longer able to offer. Sarah Ferguson has finally been pushed beneath the surface by loyalty, which is a weighty anchor. The Epstein archives release acted as a harsh gavel. She told the financier that she was at his service in a single email from 2010. A decades-old commercial desperation turned into a contemporary liability in that instant. King Charles is aware that while the crown is bound to these ghosts, it cannot breathe. The days of secret compromises and covert warnings are behind him. A surgical expert's response. Cleaning when the institution's existence is under jeopardy, sentiment is no longer acceptable. The Yorks' long-running drama of family harmony previously took place in the Royal Lodge. The eviction is now an unavoidable, albeit silent, reality. The king marked the final end of the York era by eliminating the last traces of formal status and housing. Now, Sarah is a lady living in self-imposed exile. Far from the grandkids she meant to protect, she wanders through medical clinics in Austria. It's the severe tragedy of someone attempting to use the incorrect coin to purchase her survival. The obligation is now due. Her lifelong sanctuary is suddenly a closed door. At one point, Sarah Ferguson thought she could talk her way out of any difficult situation. Her trademark shields were a never-ending smile and a well-timed interview, but the monarchy has entered a quieter, colder season. Silence is no longer a sign of defeat in today's world. It is the sole remaining psychological survival tactic. It must be excruciating to be tempted to defend herself. The BBC Newsnight producers recently knocked on her door and offered her the same candid platform that ruined Prince Andrew. She said no. The York brand gets completely liquidated as a result of this rejection. The realization that your voice is no longer valuable comes with a painful clarity. It just poses a risk. Sarah's past is still an unbalanced ledger, despite William and Catherine projecting a smooth professional future. Her retreat right now is a masterclass in desperation. According to reports, she is moving. Planting false leads to keep the cameras away from Beatrice and Eugenie. She moved like a ghost across Europe. The time of the raucous Duchess is over. Sarah has taken the ultimate penalty in order to protect her family from the long-term consequences. She needs to disappear. The ultimate silent erasing of her public life is the price of her grandchildren's tranquility. The memory of history is longed. A collection of these echoes can be found in the House of Windsor. Once Princess Margaret sought refuge in Mustique due to the strain of the crown started to weigh too much. Even though it was a lavish hideaway, she was followed across the seas by the icy silence of the palace. These same footsteps are now being followed by Sarah. Her route is more perilous. She suffers from societal leprosy, which is the contemporary equivalent of what Wallis Simpson went through. Wallis resided in an opulent Parisian home that was cut off from the lineage. Being a stranger by order but a duchess by name is a meaningless existence. Austrian clinics serve purposes beyond health care. They are the mystique of Sarah. The golden exile is this. It is a life in which Sarah fully covers the emotional interest while wealthy associates pay the costs. She is being methodically removed from the current ledger. There is more to this isolation than just location. Being a ghost at her own family's table is psychologically taxing. She provides her daughters with the last remaining safeguard by opting for invisibility. It's a silent, lonely sacrifice. She makes sure the York name doesn't stick around for the next generation. The monarchy does not appoint, shouting people out. It occurs when a door is quietly closed. At last, Sarah Ferguson has realized that certain doors are never intended to be opened again. In the corridors of a palace that has already moved on, her presence is now a ghost narrative. London's cameras are never able to capture the quiet that permeates Zurich's alpine air. This calm costs $18,000 each day at the Paracelsus Clinic. The elite try to heal the unseen cracks of fatigue and public humiliation in this sterile haven. Embarrassment. This retreat has a biting, icy irony. To keep her family afloat for decades, Sarah Ferguson had to negotiate a complex web of escalating debts and hurried business transactions. Her survival now rests on a level of wealth that most people can only dream about. This is the York family's subtle paradox. When they are attempting to vanish, they are frequently at their most costly. The woman is now longing for the opposite, having formerly flourished on the clamor of the headlines. Healing becomes a burdensome transaction when a person's existence has been financed by the same organizations that drove her into exile. This is a final glorified admission of loss rather than just a medical stay. The Duchess is no longer vying for a place at the king's table. To make sure she is eventually forgotten, she is spending a fortune. Inside a haven that resembles a vault, the debts of a lifetime are being paid off in the most discreet manner conceivable. When we start taking care of the ground instead of caring about our own reflection, we are truly mature. Kids have to continue walking. Recently, Martin Barantas offered a unique glimpse inside this forced seclusion. He affirmed that Sarah is no longer staying in Austria for vacation or health reasons. It's a calculated disappearance. Her personal priorities have completely changed. She is now battling for Beatrice and Eugenie's breathing room instead of her own place at the table. At last, Sarah has come to terms with her duty as a psychological firebreak. She is cauterizing the wound by staying in exile. She is making sure that the Epstein scandals instead of permeating her grandchildren's lives, the shadow of the royal lodge ends with her. She has never worked for the monarchy with such honesty. She must methodically remove herself from the present in order to save her family branch's future. A dynasty's unseen agreements are rarely equitable. For to work, they need a particular kind of coldness. In order to prevent her daughters from inheriting the burden, Sarah is paying off a debt she accrued over many years. I'm curious how you would handle such a. If the stakes were this great, it would be a complex family legacy. In order for us to keep following this narrative together, please subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts in the comments.